It's definitely making the...
No, don't put this in
Oh, it's going in there. No. Hey there, welcome back to the Beatrice studio for another episode of In the Studio. You're here with Nathan, and I'm Allison, and this week we are going to talk about reflection. Looking back at the year that has passed. We always do this, by the way, in the Beatrice Collective in the month of December. We take a moment to look back and take stock, what really worked for us in the past year, what didn't work so well, and what can we learn from that and take that into 2024, the next year.
2024, man.
I know.
Do you remember what was the year 2000?
I know, it was really scary and we were really worried about it. What were our big wins this year, Nathan?
Moving into this space, or moving all of production into this space.
I wholeheartedly agree. At the very beginning, we were just at home, but then we had a commercial space in Boulder, but we couldn't actually manufacture there because it was very noisy and dirty and we didn't have much space. I mean, how many square feet was that?
It was like 200.
250 or something. It's really small. But we are now fully moved in. This place is built out. It has a kitchen, which is fantastic. And then Nathan has so much space for the machines.
Yep.
And then because we have a mezzanine, we have storage space above this office, which is really great. So we can store all our foam and our stands and all that stuff up there.
Yeah, all our inventory.
And then we have this clean room where we're sitting. This is the office where my desk is. And it doesn't have the dirtiness of the warehouse.
That's right.
Nathan lives in the dirty area. What else? For this year, we talked about this in previous videos as well, so we won't go deep into it, but we did release our ARMS Early Supporter Program, so we're getting going on that. So now a few people will be getting some ARMS with their Beatrice. And then in the not too distant future, we will make that available for everyone. So don't worry, if you're still interested in ARMS later, that's gonna be coming to the general public shortly.
Yeah.
And then full form, this is a mixed bag. So our prototype that we made that has arms and legs, this was a win and a challenge, right?
Yeah, it took, I think, we were supposed to deliver it about a year ago. It was about a year overdue. And I think I just got in my own way for a lot of it. It was a challenge, and every time I would get, I would have to confront challenges with the full form R&D. I think I would put it aside and work on something else, and it really dragged the project down.
Yeah, but I don't think that you should beat yourself up over that, because I think we all do that, It's really easy to get in your own way. I mean, this is true of sewing or any other, skill where you're actually creating something from nothing. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you be specific with what was challenging?
Making the leg attachment was really hard.
Yeah.
That was the trickiest part about it. Getting the initial scans completed was also or editing the full form scans was a challenge. I had to learn some new techniques in order to do that. Mm-hmm. And then making the hard decisions and pushing through that like discomfort of having to make a decision that wasn't going to necessarily be reversible for the first prototype, and then having to ship that out to somebody. Because I couldn't just continue to, manufacture these things over and over and over again just to get it out the door. Like I had to make some hard decisions, and just go for it, and realize that not everything was going to be perfect the first time around, which was hard to kind of accept.
I feel like that can be a lot easier when it's just on you. Like if you were making this for yourself, then it might be easier to swallow. But when you have to fail right in front of somebody and it's on them, where it's gonna affect their process and their making, it feels heavier.
So it was a real accomplishment to finish it up and get it out the door, and then getting some positive feedback and also some feedback for things that we need to do differently.
Yeah. And I feel like we have some momentum now. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like once we got past that hump, things are really rolling.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You can try to imagine all day long how a product is going to be in the field, but until we actually get the product into people's hands, people other than us, we really don't know how it's gonna go. You know, I feel like sometimes our own customers, they are kind of in the same boat in a way, because they imagine working with a dress form is gonna be one way, but when they get their form, it might be a little different. We'll talk about that later, but that is definitely a common experience. And we're doing multiple things here at Beatrice Forms to help you as the client, you know, be able to get the most out of your form when it does arrive.
Yeah.
So that is part of the testing, by the way, is understanding what that user experience is when you are not the designer, you're just the user. Because we're like the designers and the users. That's not the same thing as just being the user, because you don't know what the intention was behind the design.
Yeah.
Which I think leads us...
Yeah, that dovetails with their next...
It leads very well into the next topic. And now we're into challenges. We are firmly in the challenges category for 2023. And a big thing for us is we canceled our pants form program. Canceled it.
Yeah.
I know we've been talking about it for some time and we were excited about it. I did enjoy using my pants form, but pants, you guys.
What about them?
Pants. Pants, you know, there's a good reason why they're considered, you know, one of the hardest things to make for a specific person, to make yourself, to make a custom pair of pants. And that's because fitting, you know, fitting is the challenge. And that's why everyone was so excited about pants forms, including myself. When I used my pants form, the first thing I did was drape on it. And as a draping tool, it is fantastic. I have the best pants block ever that I developed on my pants form. In fact, I'm wearing it right now. Wearing a pair of pants. They're all wrinkled and stuff because I've been sitting, but yeah, my pants I'm wearing right now came from this block, and I've made overalls and I've made coveralls, all kinds of things with my pants block. But the thing is, when you make a pair of pants that fit very closely to your body, they actually squish your body. They squish you, especially at the waistband, if that's what's holding it up. If it's a high-waisted pant, perhaps it's more being held up by the hips through your backside. But all these things, you know, are squishing you slightly and make kind of, you know, let's be honest, a little bit of a muffin top on top, especially if it's more of a, like a mid-rise or a lower-rise pant. And that phenomena of the tissue, your tissue being squeezed out or squeezed in, you cannot replicate that with the foam that we use. It's just, it's not a human being. It's not made to do that, right? And so what you expect the pants to do when you put them on the pants form is when you button them, you expect it to be just like how it is on your body, and that's not what happens. First of all, you probably won't be able to button it, and you probably won't be able to zip it up because it can't squish and compress and displace that tissue like it does on your body, okay? And that means you can't make, you can't dress your pants form with like a stretch jean, let's say, or anything that's tight fitting really. And that is what people expect to do with their pants form, and you can't do it. We have this mismatch between what our customers expect and what the product actually does. Now, I found it incredibly useful and I still use it to this day, but there are limitations.
As a product, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's, and this is another case where, people imagine what it will be like to use a custom dress form, and then the actual result ends up being different, right? It's not a human being. There is a difference. And having a custom form is really powerful if you can work with it in your process, and you kind of, know the limitations and then maximize the gains. But, I don't want to let anyone down. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, just because we can make something doesn't mean that it's going to be useful.
That's right. Just because we can make something doesn't mean it's going to be useful in the way people expect.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And when we sell to commercial clients, this isn't a problem. They know what they're in for. They have experience working with dress forms. They're not designing for one specific person, like the folks who are sewing for themselves or just like one client. And they're just used to this. So they don't get riled up. This doesn't mess with their jam. But when we ship it to home sewists, it might make you mad when you get it.
Yeah.
With that misaligned expectations. But anyway, that's that. No pants form for now. Let's talk about how we had to fire a tester.
So this tester was, they were helping us out they were one of the initial testers for our full form prototype. And, it was taking me a long time to get through the editing process. And I needed them to take some measurements for me. And I needed them to be able to take multiple measurements, multiple times, and that didn't work out with their schedule. And also, they just weren't able to do what I needed them to do.
In a timely manner.
Yeah, they wanted it quickly, and I wasn't really willing to put in, dozens of hours to make something that I knew wasn't going to come out right, because these measurements were not what they were giving me was not what I was measuring in the digital world. And so to push forward and make them this prototype that I knew was not going to be correct because these measurements weren't in alignment, and I couldn't get them to send me updated measurements in a timely manner, we had to cut them loose. And it was hard because it was a reflection of how long it was taking, and it didn't feel good to do that.
It did not feel good. But, I think what we learned from this is we need to be really clear from the beginning what our expectations and needs are for our testers before we even get started, before they agree to do that testing for us in exchange for a product or for a discount. And that will help. And this is, again, comes down to alignment of expectations. You want to be upfront and know what that is and communicate clearly and get that agreement from the other side. So that's what we're doing as we move forward with our test programs. We're going to be really clear and have a checklist that you have to check off. So you're very clear of what we're going to need in order to get this prototype to you, to test. And then once you have it, what we need back to make it so that we can make the product better, because that's the whole idea, right?
Right.
So yeah, it was disappointing, but you learn. What else? The last thing is actually kind of forward-looking, which is the next thing. When you do this reflection back on the past, you're gathering these learnings, and the whole idea is so that you can move into the next year with intention, right? Because if you want things to be better, then you need to bring really thought out and fleshed out ideas of what you're doing for the next year.
Right.
So for us, we want this company to be around in the future. That is the goal. When people, react to our pricing or freak out about our release schedule with new products, you all have to understand that, everything we do here is a huge risk for us personally, because we are a tiny, small business that is growing. and we have to make these calculated choices, and we have no idea how things are going to turn out.
Yeah.
And we have to build, in the end, we have to charge an amount that is sustainable, that will actually pay for how much it costs to make something. We got the labor, we have the materials, and then in the future, we want to be able to be here and grow and, take a vacation sometime.
And to hire some people. We've got
hire
we've got
people.
CU Boulder right down the road, and it would be nice to, pass on what I've learned, building this business and, building the infrastructure. It'd be nice to pass some of those learnings along to, another generation of people.
You know a lot more than just what you learned at this business.
Well, yes, yeah.
Nathan's selling himself a little short here. He's been making things, especially the family you grew up in. His dad is like a master machinist, maker, inventor, and Nathan grew up in this environment. So he has all these maker skills that, now that everybody's in the digital realm, I feel like some of this stuff is sort of being lost in a way. And we really hope that we can pass some of this on, specifically Nathan, to the next generation by mentoring, having interns, and then hiring people.
Yeah.
Because, we need to be able to leave sometime and not be the only ones here. And hopefully the changes we're making for this coming year will help to do that.
Yeah.
And that is, we are investing heavily in making products for commercial apparel designers, as well as professional costumers and, cosplayers and people who are making costumes for themselves. So those are growth areas for us that we're really excited about. And that, I think, kind of explains a little bit more why we're going in the full form direction, especially for commercial apparel, because and the costume world, film and TV, they always tell us, we love your regular forms, your half forms, but we really need a full form with arms and legs. So we're doing it.
Yeah.
Hey, we forgot about the number one big win. We took a vacation.
Yeah.
we took some vacation. Last year in May, we got this little teardrop trailer. It's so cute. And we took off and went camping a few times this summer.
Yeah, really since the first time.
First time in
a long time.
What's a long time? Like real vacation?
Well, real vacation probably since we moved here in 2014.
Yeah, you guys, it's sad, but we can't ever leave the property because one, we run our own business, and two, we have these goats and chickens and a dog and all these animals that need to be taken care of. And so it's hard for us to leave. And I don't know if any of you own your own business, but it's very difficult to walk away from. We don't want to let anyone down, but we finally figured out how we can travel. We finally kind of figured this out.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic, that wasn't helpful for anyone in terms of travel. But anyway, so we got out. We went to all these national parks. We went to Great Sand Dunes National Park. We went to
Capitol Reef
National Park.
Dinosaur National Monument in Utah.
That's right. And anything.
Went to some bike races.
Bike races. So Nathan, he has been training really hard to get back into racing, because you did some bike racing when you were a young person.
14 or 15, I was so bad at it. That was awful.
Yeah, I didn't have as much success.
Yeah, my bike racing career was very short-lived.
but here's the good thing, like now
squashed.
You got back into it, and he's doing a style of racing called gravel racing, and the lengths of these races and the amount of elevation gained is bananas. Give us an example. What was Steamboat? This was his biggest race. Your biggest race was
142 miles with 9,000 feet of climbing.
Yeah. And how many hours did it take?
Just under 8 hours.
which is really good, actually. Like 8 hours sounds like
Those last 6 miles were hard.
It was, he looked pretty rough. Maybe I'll put a picture of this in this video.
I felt pretty rough. Don't put
the picture in. Well, anyway, it's been really neat. And he's been doing pretty well. I mean, now he's an old man. And in your age group, you're doing pretty well for your first season.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
But anyway, the best part, at least from my perspective, the best part is how happy Nathan has been since he got back into racing. But the other benefit is it gives us an excuse to get out there.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to do was answer a question we got from the last episode of In the Beatrice Studio. And this question came from the Beatrice Collective, that is our online Beatrice community. And somebody there wanted to know, what is webbing? And the idea of webbing, this came up when we were discussing what is difficult about scanning and editing models of people and their arms. I'll let Nathan answer that one.
Right. So webbing is when you have a 3D model and areas that are close together, like say between the legs or between the arm and the torso, these areas are obscured. The algorithm is generating the 3D model will do its best to kind of like fill in those areas. And so what you end up is a 3D model that is actually where the arm and the torso are joined together with mesh. And what you have to do as part of the process to make arms is to remove that webbing. And so that's kind of like the artistic license that I need to have in order to create the arms. Now it's obvious where the arms end and where the torso ends. So you really just need to go in and select those mesh faces and just delete them and then just fill in the hole. It's not something that's not understood. It just takes a little bit of extra time in order to do it. And then you have to make sure that you're not removing too much. And it's something that comes with the territory of 3D model editing. Yeah, there's really no process or scanning technology currently in existence that does a better job of this. It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can't invent space where it's obscured from the laser scanner. Yeah, it's just your arm is blocking the camera view or the laser view contact. If the laser had eyes, it would be obscured. Yeah. Laser eyes. So that's all we have for this week. I hope that you enjoyed our little journey looking back. 2023? Yeah. And I would highly encourage you to do the same. This is really great for us as makers, as sewists, to kind of look back and celebrate those wins, because they were hard to achieve, gosh darn it. Yeah. Pat yourself on the back, and then take the learnings. Yeah, some stuff was hard, some stuff didn't go your way, but let's take that and turn it into something better for next year. I think, by the way, this is a lot better than trying to do like resolutions. That's a waste of time. Those things never work out. They're dumb, we never do them. However, reflection and learnings, carrying that into the next year and kind of framing it, I think that is a worthwhile pursuit. My New Year's resolution for the last few years has been to drink more water, and I swear it lasts like an afternoon. I never drink more water. So there you have it, folks. That's pretty sad. That's a pretty sad resolution. Set the bar low. Avoid the drinking more water in 2024. It's not going to work out. No, it's not. All right, folks, we will see you next time, and thanks for watching. Yeah, bye. Bye-bye. Dog eating food crunching. Take one. Just drinking water over there. Okay. All right. You ready? Get hyped. Get hyped. Shake it out. I'm hyped. All right. This is not a very vigorous shake. Well, I have hot coffee. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's go.
So welcome. I don't like so welcome. It's not so welcome, it's just welcome.
Do we want to redo that part?
No.
Okay.
This is great.
All right. Are you sure that
I can edit out
Can you
whenever
add some laser?
I
Some
might be
lasers
able
coming out of your
to.
eyes?